every morning before he walks out the door and goes to school, I say 3 things to him. Knowledge is, and he'll turn around and say power. And I'll say, the more you learn, and he'll turn around and say, the more you earn. And I'll say, never ever, and he turns around and says, quit. And those 3 things we say every single morning before he goes to school. Whatever I've done, I've always wanted to instantly just be the best at it and kind of get to the top. But the one thing I have learned from all the things I've done is I've been a jack of all trades and a master of none. But for every person that I've met, I've sucked that knowledge. Everything I do is calculated. Everything's got a reason behind it. There's moves and there's reasons why. It's like, I just thought, man, it was hard, really hard.
Yeah, it's letting someone else do the work for you.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes when I'm doing this, I'm a bit like, is this wire? Is this wire? Is this wire? Sometimes you're not present.
You overcheck.
Yeah.
You like, it's hard letting other people do things.
How have you found the transition to going full time?
The work easy, but balancing family and what I need to do is really, really difficult because my missus has got her own salon. So we've built the salon in the back garden, and then her juggling her time so she can fit as many clients in Monday to Friday so that I can then go out and do stuff on shows on a weekend. It's been really, really difficult. So I have to get the kids on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. So whatever I do, I've got to make sure I'm back for sort of 2:30. But then Mondays and Thursdays, I'm free to do whatever I need to do, but that's her days off. So if I go and do something on a Monday, I'm sacrificing time with my wife because I go and go.
And you always the weekends as well with the shows and stuff like that.
But I'm trying to step back from the shows a little bit. So that's where Joe comes into play a bit more, and Kieran and people like that. Because we didn't want people heavily relying on I want Alex. So we kind of had to
introduce these other
these other personalities. So now, for example, I spoke to, who was it? Josh Hill. Spoke to him I was up with him the other day, and he was like, "Oh, who's coming to my show? Is it you? Is it you?" I was like, "Nah, it might be me, but it might be Joe. Oh, can we have Joe then? Or can we have Kieran?" So there's another option.
That's good. Yeah.
Because I can't do every show.
Nah. But that's part of the growing, man.
That's
why
it's part of the grind. Part of the growing.
People, it's Unchained Minds. We've got another podcast for you. We've got Alex Pszczola with us, founder and CEO of Leapfrogfighttv, I want to say.
Myself and Amir, yeah.
And Amir.
The 2 of us, yeah.
And we'll have Amir on soon as well.
Yeah, he was supposed to come a few weeks ago.
And then everyone, but it's just like we were saying earlier, it's just timings and some people
Mate, we've been meaning to do this for
ages.
like 6 years, you know what I mean? Before we even agree. It's crazy.
But no, thank you for coming on today, man.
Pleasure, man.
Obviously, we just want to go through your life journey, how you got to where you got to, why you started Leapfrogfighttv, how you look to revolutionise sports, really, especially small hall sports. So where did it all start for you? Like, what was life like growing up?
For me, growing up was just I thought it was normal at the time, but looking back, it really wasn't normal whatsoever. It was just me, my mum and my sister, just the 3 of us. So there wasn't really, I didn't have a father figure around. So I'm really good at hoovering. I'm really good at washing up and cooking and stuff like that. But when it comes to sort of any handyman shit, nah. No good, mate. Yeah, I'm terrible, mate. I'm terrible. So it was a pretty normal upbringing. Left school, no qualifications. Didn't really know what I wanted to do in my life, which I think a problem with a lot of kids these days is you don't know who you are when you're 16. You don't know what you want to do. So I actually went and got a job as a pot washer in a local bar and restaurant. And to cut a long story short, within 3 years, I was running it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've always been that figure to go and take charge, take lead, like leadership.
Basically, the guy that owned the restaurant, Tony Colley, his name was, he's still a good friend now. He lives in Dubai now. He's got a successful business out there in the food industry. Basically, I've never met a guy that sort of commanded a room like he did. He had this insane ability to work a room. And I really liked his aura. So I kind of spent 2 or 3 years just shadowing him and learning as much as I could from him. And he kind of took me under his wing at the same time and nurtured me. And
Like a mentor.
yeah, he was like a massive, massive part of my life. And I really, really looked up to him. And I still do to this day. I mean, he took me to some places, like I went to Gareth Southgate's house we had a party there.
Jesus.
Yeah, honestly, like my claim to fame is that I walked dog poo through Andy Townsend's house. Yeah, we went to basically during the Ugo Ekiog, Andy Townsend, Gareth Southgate, Tony Daly, that sort of era of football when they all used to play for Villa. They used to all come into the restaurant, and one night they were going back to Andy Townsend's house for a party. And they were like, "Do you want to come?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll just lock the restaurant up and I'll meet you there." So they lived on the Four Oaks estate in Sutton Coldfield, which is it's a really posh estate. So I've turned up after in my little Fiat Cinquecento, pulled up and walked in through the hallway, gone into the kitchen, and there's Tony Daly, Mark Bosnich, Gareth Southgate, all these football players. And then this little Cockney woman's voice sort of appears and goes, "Who's fucking trod dog shit through my fucking house?" And I was like, and everyone's turned around, kind of looking at their feet, and it's Andy Townsend's wife, Jackie. She's like a little Cockney woman, and it was me.
Shit.
Did you own up to it?
Yeah, well, it was on my shoe. It's like fucking hell. So I'm probably in like the most. I think I was about 19 years of age.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I trod dog poo through Andy Townsend's house.
So is that where you were raised, Aston Villa?
So yeah, I was a Villa fan.
So
Yeah,
was it surreal when you're in a house of
It was mad,
playing for
mate.
Villa?
It was crazy. I remember Jordan, Katie Price. She came on her first date with Dwight York in our restaurant.
So it was a proper restaurant.
Yeah. Table 2 they sat at.
Yeah. I remember everything.
Yeah. It's weird what you remember, isn't it? But yeah, they sat at table 2, and that was unbeknown to us who Katie Price was at the time and how big she was going to be in the celebrity world. But yeah, they had their first date in our restaurant.
So where did you go to from
So from there, I then went to. I started singing.
Singing?
Yeah, I started singing.
Like making your own music or like singing at
No. I
bars
worked. I was in a tribute band. I went on tour with Five when I was 21.
You've lived a mad life.
Yeah, we haven't even begun, mate. We haven't even begun.
People on you're like, right, Leapfrog Fight TV.
Yeah,
the media, he does all the things with media, and then it's like, yeah, it's a famous restaurant. I've been on tour with Five. I'm a singer. Like, this is all like
It's a colourful life already.
So yeah, went on tour with Five, did that. Then I moved to Kent, went and ran a holiday park in Kent. I was entertainment manager at Fox Hunter Holiday Park, which is like a celebrity holiday park. So Patsy Palmer had a caravan down there. A lot of South East London gangsters. You know, it was that kind of place where the rich send their wives with the kids for the summer holidays, and they just come and visit on a weekend. I had to do a runner from there. That was quite funny. I won't give you the reasons why. And then from there, I just ran a few pubs, stuff like that, and ended up back in the Midlands like I always did. Every time I moved away, I always ended up back.
It always seems like you've had some sort of leadership role everywhere. Like you've not just been the employee.
Yeah, that's always stemmed from Tony. Whatever I've done, I've always wanted to instantly just be the best at it and kind of get to the top. But the one thing I have learned from all the things I've done is I've been what's the phrase? I've been a jack of all trades and a master of none, if you like. But for every person that I've met, I've sucked that knowledge. I mean, my son now I've got 3 kids. Well, my eldest son is, he's just turned 18. Tate is 7 this week, and my other son, Paxton, is 2. But it's Tate's 7th birthday this week. But every morning before he walks out the door and goes to school, I say 3 things to him. right, son, have a good day at school. He's like, yes, Dad. Knowledge is, and he'll turn around and say, power. And I'll say, the more you learn, and he'll turn around and say, the more you earn. And I'll say, never ever, and he turns around and says, quit. And those three things we say every single morning before he goes to school. And I want him to embed that into his mindset as he's getting older. And he's at that age now where he's kind of 6 or 7, where he's starting to understand what these things mean.
Planting the seed.
Planting the seeds.
Yeah.
So, and that's something I've learned from Tony working in the restaurant, is to all the conversations you have can mean something. You can suck all this knowledge from people. So I can go into a restaurant and I can run it. I can go and entertain someone in a bar at a karaoke. I can go and do this. I can go and do that and be the best at it, or try and be the best at whatever it is you're doing.
So you big on the power of the mind then?
Yeah, 100%.
And it can take you anywhere it wants to with
Okay,
positivity.
If you believe, then you can achieve in it.
Yeah. The law of attraction, it's sort of like the law of attraction, like the positive thinking, but with actions.
Yeah,
not
100%.
just positive thinking.
Yeah, you can't just read a book and
Yeah.
expect things to happen.
Yeah.
You got.
You got caught there.
I mean,
Do it.
that'd be good, wouldn't it? You know, like, I've just read a book. I'm a millionaire. Fucking hell. But yeah, massively law of attraction. You've got to, everything I do is calculated. Everything's got a reason behind it. You know, there's moves and there's reasons why. It's like with Leapfrog Fight TV posting videos. It's not just us posting videos on this because it's a good bit of pad work. There's reasons behind it. We're not interested in views. I don't give a shit whether it does 10 views or 10,000. It's relationship building. You know.
I do want to go back to your mental quickly. So with when you're talking to your son, implementing them things in the mornings, is that come from him pushing that on you? Or was that something from when you was a kid? You were like, I wish I had that when I was a kid.
I wish I had that. I didn't have that at all. Me and my mum, I love my mum to bits, but there's moments in my life where she didn't really like me, and we didn't really get on that well. Things are different now as you get older, but throughout life, not having that father figure to look up to, and kind of only getting a figure like that when I was sort of 16, 17 in Tony, it made me realise, from day one that I've got to implement certain things to my son so he can hit the ground running when he's older, rather than having to quickly learn it as he goes along. And especially in this day and age now, there's a massive focus on mindset and positivity and mental health. Mental health when I was a kid didn't exist. You just slap on the wrist and deal with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When actually now, I think it's made us as a race. I think it's made us softer in some ways, but it's also highlighted problems that have never been highlighted before because you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And like I was with Holly Bonus on Saturday, and we were doing her promo for her fight, and she said, her mum and dad are there ringside, and it gives her that little extra 10% that she needs. She would never feel 110% in her fights if her mum and dad weren't there, and because they're the people that she cries to, and they're the people that she laughs to as well.
Yeah,
it's like that little bit of comfort.
Yeah, it is.
Push you.
It is. Yeah. So I want to instill into my kids a tough mentality, but not without a remorseful character.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people in this day and age, with a lot of people that are taking antidepressants and stuff like that, that's not the answer.
They're like they're just Band-Aid patches.
Yeah, you go to the doctors and they'll just give you these pills and go, take these for 6 weeks and come back and see us. I've dealt with mental health myself when I was younger, and I remember going to the doctors, and I knew my doctor really well because they used to come into the restaurant. So they used to have their Christmas parties at our place. So I saw my doctor pissed up and stuff like that. So I went and see my doctor, and it took me a lot to go and see her because I knew her. And basically I was going through a bit of a hard time, and I just sat down. I was like, I think I need help and blah, blah, blah. And she just sat there and she just gave me a cuddle and listened and showed me empathy. And that's all I needed. I walked out and I was fine. I didn't need no antidepressants. I didn't need no pills. I just needed some empathy. And I think in today's society, that's what a lot of, doctors and and people are missing.
It's like they just take the easy route. It's
Yeah.
easier to just put. It's easier to not listen and just put someone on
It's like
pills.
we've lost connection.
Yeah,
With
100%.
humans, we don't want to
because
communicate. We
because
just
of
want
these.
quick.
Yeah, phone. Yeah. And obviously you'll see that more than everyone because your job is phone related. You always have to be on social media. Do you ever feel yourself sort of getting trapped in it sometimes? And if you do, how do you sort of counteract it?
I don't feel. I always say that, like me and my missus say this a lot because my missus runs her own business. She runs it through, like in the old days, you'd ring a salon to book an appointment, and that would be it. But in this day and age, people message, people text. So she's forever getting texts saying, "Oh, can you book me in for my next appointment?" Or "My hair's done this and that." So she's on her phone a lot. But there does come a point in the evening where we both say enough's enough. But I always say, there's two different types of people. If you're going to spend so much time on your phone, don't consume, create. So I do spend a lot of time on my phone, but it's creating.
Yeah.
I'm not scrolling through TikTok. I'm not scrolling through Instagram. I'm creating on TikTok and creating on Instagram. So yeah, I do spend a lot of time on my phone. My screen time is probably 10, 11 hours a day in total. But come 6 o'clock, kids, tea, read a book, do the homework, spend some time with the family. So we are quite strict, and you've got to be, because otherwise it can become addictive, can't it? You know.
What are you like with your kids on their phones?
They don't really go on phones much. My son spends quite a bit of time on his pad, but then we kind of try and restrict. Like Xbox is his thing at the moment. He always wants to be on his Xbox when his friends are on his Xbox. And I kind of get that because it's their way. It's like we used to play out and play football.
Yeah.
When my mum used to call me and I'd cry my eyes out, and so when I tell my son to come off his Xbox, it reminds me of that feeling that I used to get when I was told to come in because the lights had come on.
Yeah.
But you do what you can, don't you? You got to manage it.
Balance.
You want him to enjoy his time with his friends, but you don't want him to overindulge, so he's on it all the time.
Yeah. Because
I was going to say it's hard to find that sweet spot. It must be hard for kids, especially if you're having kids. Like if you got them.
I think the problem, you've got to spot the problems yourself, haven't you? So when I open the back door to the garden and I go out there and I want a game of football, my son will follow. He'll put the controller down. He'll want to come out with dad and play football. When I open those doors and he stops wanting to come out because he wants to stay on his Xbox, then we've got a problem. So we've got to look at that and address it.
Yeah. Do you see it more now? Like I noticed it more in like restaurants with younger kids, and they won't eat and stuff. So their parents will just put iPad in front of them, and now they'll eat because they're just watching the iPad.
Easy, isn't it?
I feel like a lot of
Like,
kids.
yeah.
I feel like a lot of kids go on their phone because, like I said, their friends are on their phones. Like you said, when you were younger, you would go out to play because everyone was going out to play. You would just follow the crowd. And I feel like if you maybe didn't have phones, you'd be going back out to play.
I think you have to take yourself back to when you were a kid. Like I remember it was a big thing. My nan used to live in Manchester, so it was a big thing going up to see my cousins in the 6 weeks holidays. We were all of a similar age, and we were heavily into like Warhammer and like role-playing games with these little figures and stuff. So we'd go up to Sandbach to see my cousins, and we'd literally spend all day there, and we'd spend hours and hours setting out all these little figures and then starting our game. And then come 6 o'clock, my mum would be like, right, it's time to go. And, oh my mum,
Yeah.
we've spent all day sorting out this game, and we're just about to start, and you're telling us we're going home. And I remember that feeling of absolute heartbreak that we couldn't finish our game. So I just try and take myself into my son's mind to how he's going to feel, how he's feeling when I'm telling him to. So I always try and compromise.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you make them read a lot?
Not as much as I should, but he's quite good at reading, to be fair. I want my kids to be kids. And in my opinion, kids having homework at 7 years of age is like
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, man. There should be from 10 maybe onwards. So yeah, but then again, if it's down to your parenting, innit? If you spot a problem and you see that he's struggling and he's falling behind everybody else, then you do something about it. But he's not. He's going with the flow. He can read well for his age.
Yeah.
He does his homework. He does it well. His writing might need a little bit of improvement, so we'll concentrate on that next week. but I still want him to be a kid. They spend 6 hours a day at school.
Yeah.
They don't have to do 2 hours of homework when they get back
Yeah.
at the age of 7. It's like,
What are you like with keeping them in schools?
with like what?
With how, like, because you see a lot online with how people portray the school system, and a lot of it's broken, a lot of it's not. Some people think it's all right. Obviously, you're running a company. Do you think school and university is the way you'd want him to go? Is it sort of just like leaving?
Nah, man, doesn't. No, there's nothing you like. I've got 0 qualifications. And
Just had a lot of life experience.
yeah, I mean, we didn't even. I spent 15 years in the motor trade. I used to run Peugeot dealerships. You know, that was a corporate environment. I was earning 70 grand a year, brand new car every 3 months. I didn't have any qualifications. I was just good with people.
Yeah.
I remember the interview when I was with the managing director, and he went, "Why should I? You've got 0 experience in selling cars. Why should I take you on?" I said, "Because I'll send you a shitload of cars." He was like, "What? No one's ever spoke to me like that before." I was like, "Will, what's it going to take to sell a fucking car? It's not like you either will like it or you don't. People buy from people. I ain't going to buy from somebody I don't like. I'd rather pay £100 extra down the road and buy it off Jim, who's a really nice guy."
Yeah.
So yeah, I spent 15 years in the motor trade, and that was an eye opener, mate. Like, fucking hell, I've worked with so many. There's more snakes in the motor trade than there is in the fight game. Let me tell you, like the fight game snakes have got a lot to learn about the snakes in the motor trade. Jesus.
We'll get on to the fight game snakes, because that is a big portion of the questioning as well. So with Leapfrog, how did that come about? When did you realise it was combat sports and the app that you wanted to dive into?
So basically, I started kickboxing when I was 37. I took my son kickboxing. He was 10 at the time, and started doing it myself. Just kind of started training once a week, having a personal session, and then started training more. Got my black belt when I was about 41, I think, something like that. And then I was like, "Oh, I love this shit. I love the fight game's wicked. I need to get involved somehow." I'm too old to fight. No one's going to fight me. I'm not going to have any sort of fight career. What can I do to be involved in combat sports? So I set up Notorious Fight Gear. And Notorious Fight Gear was only ever set up to get me in the industry. It was never set up to build a Gymshark or an Everlast or anything like that. It was purely there just to get me known, get my face out there, get me respected in an industry where nobody knew me. So all I did was set that up, mate, and fucking cost me a fortune and give loads of free shit away all the time. But it served its purpose.
Yeah.
Through Notorious, myself and Amir connected because he had Leapfrog Combat Media. And he saw I was sponsoring some young up and coming fighters. And we just connected and got chatting. And from there, we just slowly started sort of develop this online friendship, if you like, because we still had never met each other. And then we started going to a few shows together. And then my marketing head came on, and I saw the sport from a new set of eyes and saw what was missing. Saw that a lot of these fighters weren't getting, I didn't know who they were. Like, why didn't I know who they were? He's just fought for a world title. I don't know this guy, you know?
Yeah.
So I remember one of my first interviews was with Rion Wong, you know, when Rion Wong was still an amateur. Alfie Pierce, after his second N-class fight, you know, none of these guys were getting any of attention. I mean, it was only a few days ago I was with Finn Cook from Brooks Gym, 24 fights into his career, and he's never been interviewed.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Like, what? I was with Holly Bonus on Saturday, 10 fights into a career, unbeaten, never been interviewed. Like, there's something fundamentally wrong with the fact that Finn Cook has had 24 fights, he's 2-2 as a pro, and he's never been interviewed.
Do you think this is a combat sports issue or just the field they're in? So Muay Thai, kickboxing?
I think it's the field they're in. I think Muay Thai and kickboxing is every discipline is so different. Obviously, we work with MMA guys, we work with Muay Thai, we work with pro boxing shows. They're all so very different, and they all work in very different ways. I think Muay Thai is a community. I think it's I think it's been its own worst enemy in terms of growth. I think it's been its own worst enemy. I think it needs marketing, it needs strategy, it needs stories to be told, it needs characters to be built, it needs people to start thinking outside the box. There's only a certain amount of times you can see someone hitting pads. The people want to see different stuff now. People want to see inside people's lives. They want to access all areas. And I think Leapfrog Fight TV, I'm not an arrogant guy, but I believe we played a major part in the change and the perception of the growth of the sport. We started interviewing fighters and paying these guys a lot of attention, and the corner clips we do, that was never done before. That was something we wanted to focus on, bringing an element of exposure to the coaches, because the coaches don't just train the one fighter that you see fighting, they're training another 30 of them.
Yeah.
And they were never getting any sort of recognition or exposure. So we're quite renowned for our corner clips now. A lot of other people have started doing them, which is great. It's growth for the sport.
Yeah.
So going back to myself and Amir, we started going to shows, doing bits on social media, starting connecting with guys, networking, meeting people, doing some interviews, not earning any money from it, giving these people our free time. And Leapfrog Fight Night was always a discussion that we'd had over many, many years of what can we do? What can we bring to the UK to compete with the likes of One Championship and RWS, and because I think those promotions are heavily geared for the Eastern market. So the fighters that are fighting on One Championship, for example, that are from Thailand and Asia, the money they earn on One Championship can be life-changing for them, because the cost of living over there is so different to over here. But the UK fighters, it's not enough.
No.
And also One Championship as a platform, people forget about the fallen, people forget about the fighters that they have ruined careers, like Iman Barlow, for example. They completely ruined her career. Craig Coakley just won £100,000 contract. He's fought on there once.
Yeah, we've heard a few off camera, a few weird things about One and how it's run, and
nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah, everyone's scared of the guy.
Yeah.
Chatri, is it? His name's Chatri.
I ain't scared of him. Bring him on, man.
Like really, everyone's really like weird with it.
I went on tour with 5, mate. You think I'm scared of Chatri? I used to run Peugeot dealerships, mate. Dangerous Dave, mate. He's a lot worse than Chatri, let me tell you. No, but
There's a weird aura around him.
Yeah, people are afraid to talk about it, and I don't know why. I think generally in this industry, people are afraid to give their opinions. And I think maybe that's because it's such a small community that people don't want to not be liked, but I think people need to give their opinion in order to help grow the sport. You're allowed to give your opinion in a respectful way. We might not agree on something. It doesn't mean I'm not going to not like you or fall out with you.
I feel like fighting is very, like they're getting in the ring and fighting each other. It's real life warriors. Gladiators in real life, but they're very sensitive. Fighters are sensitive. Like even when you look at the UFC and stuff, with like Ariel Helwani will say something about a fighter and they will get generally upset about it, and it's like, you're fighting in a ring with your shirt off in small pants. Like,
that's the least we worry.
A fighter isn't a fighter out the ring, though.
No,
there's a reason why a fighter fights. They've all got their own reasons. Rion's a perfect example. He's got an incredible story of turning his life around and becoming the person that he is today. And people have got their opinion on that story.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's okay. You're allowed your opinion. Just be respectful. But I think the sport needs more rivalry. I think it needs, like I said, characters building. We've announced Leapfrog Fight Night now, and that's the first time I've ever sort of experienced a bit of a backlash in the industry in terms of negativity. And I'm cool with that. Be negative.
Negativity from who? Just fans or promoters?
A few promoters, a few coaches.
Some people chucking
chucking like rocks, and they're trying to be like one championship. Like, yeah, I am. You got a problem with that? Why? Why can't I dream and aspire to have a promotion that's as big or bigger than one championship?
But like you said, it is very confusing over it. You don't know. Someone's always fighting for some title, and it's who's president. Like who? Because you have people in Thailand, and then people will be like, "Oh no, people in one championship." But the one championship guys, they fight with the smaller gloves. So it's like, now is this Muay Thai or is this UFC gloves? I get so confused because it's just too much.
Joe Turner did a YouTube video a few weeks ago that we've been helping him with his YouTube lately, trying to grow his YouTube with him and giving him some advice and say, right, do a video on this, do a video on that. And he did a video on Muay Thai scoring on one championship. Fucking hell, man. He got slated.
Yeah.
But he got slated by the same group of people. Now, all he's done is he's done his research. He spoke to an official that works on One Championship. He's been onto the One Championship website. So then he's made a video about scoring on One Championship. His opinion. Whether it's right or wrong, he's done his facts. He's researched as much as he possibly can. So this video that he's put out might have a few little tiny bits in it that need tweaking or not quite correct. But it's got people engaged in conversation to find out the actual real truth on how this is scored or how that's scored. And he got fucking ripped apart for it.
Yeah.
Like ripped apart for it by this collection of small-minded individuals.
I feel like that's when you know you're winning.
Yeah.
That's when you know you're winning.
But it's very much with as soon as you go at one. Because we put a clip out with Dan McGowan saying how one championship's ruining Muay Thai, traditional Muay Thai. And he got pelters. And he got pelters. And he even got pelters on Instagram off Andy Badco. And there was a massive paragraph and there was this big like back and forth. And it was just like, is it that deep? You don't own one championship. You're not even a part of one championship. So why are you that annoyed about other people's opinion on one championship?
I think for me, there's a minority. Like a lot of people always say this: work together or not at all, and that will grow you've got to work together to grow the sport. And there's a lot of people in this industry that say it but don't do it. I can hand on my heart and categorically say we work with more promoters, coaches, fighters than any other platform in the country, and we do. Yet I feel there's a lot in this industry, the same collection of people, and I think they want to be the ones to have known to be the ones that grew Muay Thai,
revolutionize it.
They don't want to be a collection of people. They want to be the ones. We're the ones that make Muay Thai massive in the UK. We're the ones that got Muay Thai this. We're the ones that got that fighter that, rather than it being a collection.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to be their downfall.
What's the biggest thing you've learnt from promoters within the sport? What they're not really doing much of? Because obviously you've worked with all of them. All of the small hall shows, you work with a range of different ones from up north, down south.
The smaller hall shows, they're doing exactly what they need to do. They're doing exactly what it says on the tin. The bigger shows, they're not promoting. Straight up not promoting. There isn't a...
Why though? Is that because do they feel like they've already set precedents within the sport and they feel like they don't have to do half as much?
Yeah, they're plateaued. So they get to a certain point and they plateau. That's it. Where am I going to go from here? Unless someone gives me £250,000 how can I do... Like, it's not about... We've built Leapfrogfighttv from nothing. We've built this business off our phones. We were at shows. You've seen us, recording footage on our iPhones.
Yeah, your work rates.
It's only now we've invested into a bit more quality cameras and stuff like that. So who's the biggest promoter of Muay Thai in the UK?
I would know Muay Thai Grand Prix or Hitman.
In terms of a promotion, who's the biggest promoter? There isn't one. Name me an Eddie Hearn of Muay Thai.
Yeah, no, there isn't.
There ain't one.
They're all
what I'm
shows.
saying.
They're all shows.
Yeah.
There's not like a management team.
And I don't mean this disrespectfully to them in any way whatsoever, but they're all matchmakers.
Yeah.
They're incredible matchmakers. I'm not taking that away from them. But in terms of promoting, what are they doing to help a fighter sell tickets?
Nothing.
They're giving them a poster.
Yeah.
I haven't even done my show yet. And I'm already promoting the ass out of fucking everybody in the UK. I'm travelling up and down the country. I'm going over to Ireland. I'm going up to Scotland. I mean, I've put 28,000 miles on my van in 9 months. You know, I'm going and visiting these people. I'm doing promo videos on them. I'm not pestering them to say, I can't ring up a fighter and go, mate, why have you only sold 10 tickets? When all I've done is given them a poster. I mean, come on.
You're not even helping them.
No, you're not helping these guys.
Most fighters don't really know what to do.
They're not salesmen.
Nah.
The only people fighters are going to sell tickets to are friends and family. At this level, are friends and family and a few fans you may have. They're not going to go around knocking doors going, hey, mate, I'm a fighter. Do you want a ticket? So you've got to build these characters. Like Liam Cunningham is he's a good ticket seller, but he can be better. And it's up to us to build his profile. It's up to us to get him on his local radio station, get people interested. Like, we've got a Diamond Fight British champion living in Bedford and nobody fucking knows. You've got all these different platforms like Siam Boxing and all these other Muay Thai pages, but they're heavily Muay Thai. So the only video, when they do a video and they put a video out, the only place that's going is to people that are fans of Muay Thai. It's not going to Joe Public to try and get more people to get eyes on the sport. Whereas with Leapfrog Fight TV, with us having pro boxing on the platform, with us having MMA, with us having kickboxing, small hall shows, bigger shows, it's getting, like, Charlie Herdman's a perfect example, and I'm a perfect example. I was a boxing fan before I was a Muay Thai fan. Charlie's come to, where did he come to? Charlie came to Diamond Fight. Mate, he was hooked.
Just because it's brutal.
Hooked. You know? So it's about thinking outside the box. Yeah, you might post on this page and it's going to get thousands of views, but I'd rather get 5,000 views than 100,000 views. And 5,000 of those views, 40% of them are people that have never seen Muay Thai.
Was this an intentional? I remember you said earlier in the podcast that everything you do is intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Was this an intentional part of your plan to always? So when you and Amir started, you were going to promoters, you were streaming it through your streaming service, but it was all of their fans, their fighters, their sort of events. Did you always know that you were going to build this audience and then go and do your own thing at the end of it?
When you launch a t-shirt brand, what do?
Build a community.
You print off a load of t-shirts, set up an Instagram, and you launch a t-shirt brand.
But that's the wrong way.
That's the wrong way of doing it, man.
Yeah.
Like, who you fucking launching to? You ain't got no audience. You ain't got no followers.
Yeah.
So with Notorious Fight Gear, I spent 6 to 8 months on the platform before I even launched a product. So when I did launch, I had someone to launch to. So the last 6 years, we've been building our audience.
How did you learn that? Or was that just natural thing
from Tony and the motor trade?
Oh, I was gonna say.
Those two the marketing element from the motor trade. Like when I was in the motor trade, I just got out after the launch of the new Peugeot 107 and the 208. That was when I got out, and I remember we were the first dealership in the whole of the UK to put on a 107 for £99 a month. It couldn't be done. The lowest you could get a Peugeot 107 for, with all the discount and everything else, was £129 a month. So we did an offer of £99 a month, and we sold 50 107s within a 2-week period to people all around the country. We were delivering them left, right and centre, and that's before Car Wow and all that existed, and delivering cars even existed. People just weren't doing that. We had people phoning us up going, mate, can I leave a deposit? Is this real? Yeah, no worries. Left a deposit, 50 quid for delivery. Yeah, that's fine, mate, deliver it. So I pioneered that in the motor trade. How did we get it to £99 a month? So Peugeot work on, you have what at the time what was called, you've got the car list price, and then you've got what they call a unit one bonus. So that unit one bonus can be, say, 1,500 quid. So you can use any of that 1,500 quid to discount the car to get it to this price. So a lot of other dealerships, and there's a big thing in finance at the moment now with people getting money back because motor dealers could play around with the percentage on the finance rate. So basically we took the 1,500 quid and that would get your Peugeot 107 down to £129 a month. Well, if we sold 50 Peugeot 107s or 100 Peugeot 107s, I can't remember what the number was, but if we sold a certain amount of 107s in the month, Peugeot would pay us a back-end bonus of 25 grand. So I used some of the bonus without even getting it because I was confident in my own ability that if I got this to 99 quid a month, we'd sell fucking hundreds. So I used a section of the bonus, the back-end bonus that we'd receive if we sold 100 107s to create the 999 price, which thankfully we fucking did. My director at the time, was flapping and shitting himself, but I was like, mate, this will revolutionise the industry.
Yeah.
And it did.
You kind of used it as a loan to yourself.
Yeah.
We loaned the money that we didn't get.
Yeah.
But the moral of the story is I backed myself. I backed myself and I backed my team to be able to do it. And we did.
So how would you go about, obviously you've built a team now. You've got the Joes on board, Kieran's, it's you and Amir, Charlie Herdman. So how do you go about building a team for someone who's looking to start a product, t-shirt, their own thing? What's 3 pieces of advice you'd give them?
Conversations, give people your time and network as much as you can. There's been more value for me being at a show, having conversations with people than videoing and doing clips. Those conversations I've had have been more valuable, like the conversations I've had with you.
Yeah.
They've been more valuable than any other time that we've spent together or, because I gave you and you gave me your time.
Yeah.
And that's more valuable than anything. And content as well. Obviously, the content has value. I think the industry's now sort of getting their head around the fact that content has also got valuable. It's a valuable commodity. Like, people didn't realise how much it was valuable a few years ago. But the world, you've got to try and just stay 3 steps ahead. The social media is changing all the time, constantly evolving, like subtitles, for example. That pinged up a few years ago. Don't put your video out without subtitles, fucking da-da-da. It's now going the other way around. It's now changing to don't put subtitles. It looks shit. People want a clearer picture. Watermarking your videos in case they go viral. Plastering your watermarks everywhere and your logos. That's now reversing. Make them smaller, make them more discreet. So you've got to just constantly try and be 1 step ahead.
Are these things you would go out and research yourself, or are they things that just over time, by being sort of
initially it's not so much sort of research, it's kind of a feeling that I got and tried to think outside the box and create new trends, if you like. Like with the corner clips, that was I like to believe that's a new trend we created. Again, now they've got to evolve. So before it was just filming people in the corner, then it was getting a shotgun mic so we can hear them, then it's removing the shotgun mic and actually micing the people up so it's even more clearer.
You're just trying to add the steps.
Yeah, now it's micing them up, adding 2 cameras so we can get it from 2 angles. I mean, fucking hell, we'll be using a drone soon and hovering over them while they're in the corner. But yeah, it's just you can't stop. If you stop, you're dead, mate.
Yeah.
If you stop, you're dead. And it was the same in the motor trade. If you take your eyes off the ball for 2 minutes, then that customer's going to walk and go to that salesman and not you. You've got to be on the ball 24/7. I mean, one of the worst. And you've thinking out the box as well. Like going out to a customer, 99% of salesmen would go, "Hey, how you doing? Can I help you?" To which the response from a car salesman, 99% of the time, the customer's going to respond, "No, you're all right, I'm just looking." It's the first thing everyone's going to say. People hate salesmen. So my approach was, Morning, how you doing? Do you want a coffee? I'm just going to go make one.
Butter them up.
Like, love, do you want a coffee? Yeah, well, yeah, I'll have a coffee, please.
Yeah.
You've just broke down that barrier straight away. I never used to take them to my desk. I always used to go and sit in the coffee area like we are. Because the desk's
Like
a barrier.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to build a relationship with the person, not trying to just sell them something.
And that's when a lot of salesmen in the motor trade, they're in the motor trade for 2 or 3 years and they'll get out because they haven't got that repeat custom. So when that customer comes back in, they don't go to them because they just sold them a car. They didn't build a relationship. Whereas I spent so many years in the motor trade because I forged relationships and I had a lot of repeat business. So I could phone up Mrs. Franks and go, Mrs. Franks, I know you're on a 3-year PCP. You've only had your car 2 years, but now, trust me, is a wicked time to change because the discounts are huge. I can get you into a new car for the same money that you're paying now or less. Oh, yeah, Alex, whatever you say, whatever, yeah, I'll be down in a bit.
Trust. How has has there been any situations where having a strong mindset has played into it? Any stories that you can think of off the top of your head?
Strong mindset.
You must have been if you were doing kickboxing at that age. Definitely got a mindset. Kickboxing, what age did you start at? 38?
36, 37.
37, yeah. Grinding at an age like that.
I think, if I'm being honest, I think it stems from my childhood. I think I had to be tough, having no dad. I remember my mum buying me some football boots. Everyone at the time, I think the brand was Dunlop. I think Dunlop was all the rage with metal screwing studs. They're illegal now, but that was the rage when I was a kid. And I remember my mum taking me and buying me some like moulded football boots that cost £2.50. And oh man, the stick I got was unreal for these £2.50 football boots. So I think a lot of it just stems from fending for myself when I was a kid.
What's your opinion on excuses then? Because you could have arguably gone 2 ways. You could have gone down a bad path.
I did go down a few. I did go down a few bad paths. I mean, I saw stuff a 20-year-old should never have seen.
Yeah.
I seen a lot of drugs, a lot of after parties. I had a gun at my head when I was 23. This is another claim to fame I forgot to tell you about. I went to UB40's Astro's birthday party.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got so pissed, I pissed in the chili.
But the food.
Yeah.
The fucking food.
Massive pot of chili.
That's a northern thing. That's a northern thing. That's
Proper colourful life.
Colourful, mate. I could write a book. I'm not even joking. I could write a book. But this is another thing that I like about the fight game. Like, nobody knows me.
Yeah.
And what I've seen and what I've been through and the people I know, Yeah, it's mad, man. I could go a lot.
A guy.
I could go a lot deeper, bro. I could, honestly. I mean, fucking hell, it'd blow you away. Yeah, I've done a lot. But do you know what? I've loved every minute of it. I loved every minute of it because it's all part of life. It's all part of experience. But as you've got older, your mindset starts changing. My mindset now is, what can I leave my kids? Because the more I can leave them, the better chance they're going to have in life going forward. Because, just in this day and age, just to buy a house is hard. It's not easy. You can be the manager of River Island and not afford a house.
Yeah.
And you're a manager of a big clothes chain.
Yeah.
It's just hard.
So, but would you accredit to you not slipping down that bad path permanently, to like staying down there?
My own self-belief. A lot of my friends will always say, you speak to any of my closest friends from school and people that I've known over the years, and they've always tagged me with the phrase of Alex always falls in shit and comes up smelling of roses. And the times when I've got arrested for having a fight when I was younger, they didn't lock me in a cell. They just sat me in the custody suite and I'm having a coffee with the copper that arrested me.
You just
I swear to God.
One guy
Yeah,
like that. It's
I am that annoying guy, but it's because I'm good. I just didn't give him any grief. I was like, yeah, you got me, sorry. And so I'm just that guy.
Would you say for like the younger generation, would you say they should all experience sales?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's very cutthroat. It teaches you about targets. It teaches you about pressure. It teaches you how to manage your time. Teaches you to be a forward thinker, because if you're not, you'll get found out really quick. You know. Yeah.
Was you already confident going into the job?
Yeah, I've always been confident.
Or did you just build it over time?
I've always been confident. I've always had a really good mask. So you wouldn't know that I wasn't. Like getting into the fight game, for example, I didn't know a lot about it. I didn't know who Rion Wong was. I didn't know much about Muay Thai. But the first few interviews I ever did, I put my game face on and I interviewed some of the biggest names in the industry and didn't even know. Reese Brudenell, you know, the guy's an absolute savage. Rion Wong, your Alfie Pierces, all these guys that, and I've kind of evolved and learned with them as they have. You know, but for me, I don't know. I just want to be the guy for the fighters. You know, I want to be that guy that tries to help them as much as possible, help them get more money, help them get more exposure, help build a bigger name for themselves. You know, me and Kieran Shanahan, we started that relationship. The first time I ever met Kieran was he bought a pair of Notorious focus pads off the stand at 21 Century, and I remember saying to my son that was running the stand, keep an eye on him. He's like, what? I said, just keep an eye on him. Make sure we don't nick anything.
Got the
Kieran
tattoos big.
he had a big tattoos. It was he had his really short hair and he had like this ridiculous hat on and just his tash. He looked like a right dodgy bastard. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
It's like just...
And he's Irish as well.
He's Irish as well. I was like, just keep an eye on him. Just keep an eye on him. Anyway, he bought some focus pads and then we connected, started messaging a bit and... You know, he's like, I just sent him an invitation to my wife's 40th birthday party. Kieran's now like that guy I can rely on. And I tell him so much. I'm on the phone to him all the time. But I can always give him, like, this is, I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there. He just never wants to let me down. And he wants to always be there. And he's a great guy. And to see him grow and achieve the things he's achieving with his fight career and with him as a person. His Mrs. Louisa, she's lovely. He's
a character as well.
You ain't seen nothing from Kieran yet, mate. He's just beginning, that guy. Seriously. And with everything I can do to help him, I will give him every ounce of my being to help him achieve, you know, what he wants to achieve, along with all the other people that we work with. Joe, seeing Joe's growth over the last year, 12 months, 18 months has been, you know, wicked. Some of the stories he's got to tell me, I can't tell you on camera. They're just ridiculous. But they're exactly what I'd be doing if I was his age, you know? It's great. It's wicked.
But so now, you've always been a leader. So how do you pass that down onto your team? Like, how have you implemented that message through to them?
I think through what Tony Colley did with me is what I'm trying to do with Joe. And that I can see that already happening. Joe's a real overthinker. He seeks a lot of approval. So he's always saying, is this all right? Is that all right? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? But I can see his hunger and his willingness to want to learn. He's already good with socials. He's already got a great personality. He can already now market himself in a good way. Now it's about learning the art of people, and you know, stick me in a room with a bunch of criminals and I'll have a great time and I'll entertain those guys and we'll have a fabulous night. Stick me in front of a room with solicitors and judges and I'll do exactly the same thing.
You're very versatile. You seem like you just get on with everyone.
Yeah. But if I don't like you,
you'll
fucking know about it.
Yeah. Which obviously brings... Just like to take this time to shout out our sponsors at Prime MMA. If you're looking to enhance your MMA skills and learn by one of the best coaches around, head over to Prime MMA now. It's as easy as clicking the link in their bio, selecting your class, selecting your purchase type, putting your email in, and then purchasing. With brilliant MMA and boxing fighters coming out of Prime, it's really the best time to start your MMA journey now. Head over to Prime MMA and let your mixed martial arts journey begin. On to the next sort of segment, which is, I know you've mentioned a few things to me before about Liam Harrison, and maybe it was the way he sort of come in with his brand. Is it his Hitman Fight League, right? And what they're not doing for fighters, and sort of how it's come across. What's your opinions on him? What's your opinions on their sort of...
I massively respect Liam Harrison as a fighter. I think absolutely incredible. I've never interacted with him, never interacted with him. I met Andy Howson and Simon Jays at a CFS show at your call. Me being the way I am, walked straight over to them, shook their hands, introduced myself. Nah.
Just weren't feeling...
Nah, not at all. I think they're just not on my page. They're not on my page at all. I think the way they've now launched Hitman Fight League TV, which is great. Bring it on. I absolutely love it. Competition, rivalry. It's what the sport needs in every aspect, not just the fighters and the gyms.
Challenge.
They think they're pulling a sneaky one. Oh, we're going to do that. Bring it on, mate. I'm game on. But some of the way they're conducting their business, it's not how you conduct business. I've been in business a long time in many different ways. And for me, you conduct business that way, then I'll bury you. And that's...
Is this the feeling you got from speaking to them? Or is this the feelings you've got from hearing stories through fighters and promoters?
Knowing what they're doing now and the way they're trying to build their business, it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's completely wrong. You don't do it that way. I'm not going to go into details, but the way they are trying to grow that as a business is not the way.
Are they more, would you say, money orientated?
I don't know. You'll have to ask them. I mean, I don't know what their agenda is. But like I said before, I think they just want to be the guys, But to be the guy, everyone's got to like you. There's not many people that can say a bad thing about me. If you ask the people that have got a bit of a negative aspect of me now, if you like, ask them why. Why are you so negative towards Alex? Why are you all of a sudden become a hater? Because I'd love to hear the reason why. Because I don't think they'll be able to give you one.
Yeah.
I really, really don't. Well, because he moved his show.
Yeah.
Well, hang on a minute. That's a reason to become it's one of them.
Obviously, Leapfrog Fight Night, June. You've moved it. It's June.
So this is another thing.
June the 15th.
We moved it from June 22nd to June 15th, and oh my god, this is what probably started all the negativity, if you like. But this is where I refer to marketing and thinking outside the box. So we moved the show from June 22nd because we didn't want to clash with MTGP. And this is for the fans. Why would we want to clash with MTGP? Because if we do that, you've then got to decide to watch Leapfrog Fight Night, or you've got to decide to watch MTGP. Because not many people are going to buy both.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. You probably wouldn't. Not many people are going to buy both. So you've got to choose. And as a fan, why should we make them choose? So if we move it to the week before, which is June 15th, we've also got another 4 or 5 shows on the platform on the same day. So then I had a chat with one of the promoters, and he rang me up and he was like, mate, why have you moved your show? It's like the same day as mine. I was like, but mate, it's genius. He went, what do you mean? What do you mean? I said, well, now people haven't got to choose. He said, okay, well, explain. I said, you can now watch Leapfrog Fight Night. You can watch this show. You can watch that show. You can watch this show. You can watch that show, all on the same platform. You haven't got to choose.
People will probably skip through.
So people are going to tune in and watch that fight, tune in and watch that fight, tune in back and watch that fight. If they've missed that fight on there, there's the on-demand service. So an hour after the show, they can tune back in and watch something they missed. So the fans haven't got to choose between a show. They can just watch them all.
Yeah.
And he was like, mate, that's genius. I get it.
Yeah.
So it's for the fans. We moved our show for the fans. Nothing to do with MTGP, nothing to do with Leapfrog Fight Night, nothing to do with anybody. this is for the fans. Now you can watch MTGP next week, and you can watch Leapfrog Fight Night along with all the 5 other shows we've got without having to choose.
Yeah. Which will work well because, like you said, there's going to be a lot of people on the platform.
Exactly.
And I like skipping certain things.
Yeah, everybody does. Laura Cannon,
when you go to another fight.
Laura Cannon from Alliance Muay Thai said to me a few weeks ago, she watched some fights on the last Diamond fight because there was a couple of fighters on the show that were in her weight category. If that was a pay-per-view only event, she wouldn't have bought it. But because it was part of her membership, she watched it. So the more Muay Thai shows we get on the platform, as well as MMA and all the other disciplines, the more value it adds to our members. We've now, we did 58 shows last year. We've got over 100 plus shows this year. And we've also got pro boxing on there now as well. We've got four pro boxing shows.
So just growing and growing and growing.
And growing, yeah.
It is with the fight nights, are you looking to just stick to Muay Thai, kickboxing?
No, so we've rolled out kickboxing. They're the 2 ones we're going to stick to for now. The reason we've rolled out kickboxing, if I'm being completely honest with you, is the support we've had from the kickboxing community. The kickboxing community needs a big platform. The Irish are massive fans of Leapfrog Fight TV in Muay Thai and kickboxing. They absolutely love us. Nobody's been paying those guys any attention whatsoever. So we're putting on a Leapfrog Fight Night kickboxing on July 6th in Cannock. There's a lot of Irish coming over. There's a lot Germany coming over. And then next year, probably February, we're looking to take Leapfrog Fight Night kickboxing over to Ireland. Because I really want to do that for those guys, and Muay Thai as well.
But you're going to keep them separate.
Yeah.
So just Muay Thai, just kickboxing. It's more simple.
Yeah, more simple.
Sort of
the key with Leapfrog Fight Nights are less fights.
Because they're normally so big. And
so a lot of promoters, obviously, they've got to put 25, 30 fights on the card because they need to get the tickets in and they need to make money. Leapfrog Fight Night, we don't need to put that many fights on. We're looking at putting on cards of 15 maximum. Ideally sort of 10, 12, but then of the 15 fight card, that's going to be separated into a prelims, which will be free on YouTube, and then the main event card, which will be between 6 and 8 fights. That'll be like a TV show, so there'll be a panel.
Proper.
It's going to be good. It's a night of entertainment.
A proper event,
we want people to come and turn up at 3-4 o'clock, and we want to be done by sort of 9 and people to enjoy the whole event. But then after the event, 99% of the shows I've go to, as soon as the event finishes, everyone just goes.
Disperses.
Well, we want to keep people there and have a party, celebrate, and socialise. We want to build characters.
I feel that's what it needs here as well.
Yeah, it does.
It needs something to make people feel special.
Yeah, 100%.
It reminds me of Top Tier, the boxing promotion.
Yeah.
They've not gone small hall, but they've not gone matchroom, but they've gone in the middle and more towards like matchroom. And I feel like no one really does that. You're either small or you're big.
The difference is with the pro boxing shows is they're all after a TV deal.
Yeah.
The reality of it is none of them are going to get it. There's a few like Top Tier that think they may, and they possibly borderline might, but the reality they're not. There's no room. There's no room for them. All the money's tied up in all the other ones they've got already. So you need that kind of middle ground, which is where a few of the like Nielsen's and Mannings and people like that, they've kind of with us now because we can cover that middle ground for them.
Yeah.
But in terms of Muay Thai, I think there's a lot of the boxing elements that we're bringing to Muay Thai that have been missing. Like, I think the WBC, for example, I think they need to get kind of more involved in terms of how can you have there's still WBC world title fights going on without a live stream.
Yeah.
Like, how's the world?
Is that actually by the proper W?
Yeah. How's a WBC world title fight going to be taken seriously if the world can't watch it? It's just fundamentally wrong. So the WBC need to take elements from the WBC boxing and put that into play. We need to start getting purse bid scenarios into play. So a WBC world title fight, sanctioned by the WBC. He should be like, right, this fight's been made between the champion and the contender or whatever. Who wants to put it on? So then all the different promotions.
Yeah,
I'll put that fight on.
It needs to feel serious.
Yeah.
Because at the minute when you do look at it, and I was thinking about this the other day, I was thinking of Tom Kirk, funnily enough, because you feel like a lot of these Muay Thai K1 fighters, they're putting themselves through hell every camp. Some of them are fighting 6, 7, 8, 9 times a year, and it's not really for anything. Like, you're still going to work on that Tuesday, you're still working. Some of them don't even want to go the one championship route because of the gloves. So it's like, whereas boxing and MMA, there's more of a clear path. It's amateur, then pro, try get to the UFC or PFL or something like that.
I know it sounds ridiculous, but why do you think Aldi and Lidl are so big? Because every time Lidl did something, Aldi responded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time Aldi did something, Lidl responded, and so on and so forth. And it's the same in the fight game. If we announce a big fight and it goes to a purse bid scenario, the WBC say, whoever pays the most for this fight can have it. Fighters' profiles get raised. Fighters' money gets raised. And that's the key here, is the fighters need to get paid more. And then there's more legs in what the WBC titles mean and do. I mean, what? Come on, you can't have a WBC world title fight being fought for in a community centre with no live stream.
This is the thing, it doesn't feel serious.
No, it's never going to have the legs. You're better off not putting that WBC title on.
Yeah.
You know? But then a lot of promoters are putting titles on just to get fights. I'm trying to match. I'm trying to match this fight. Oh no, we're not. I'll put a title on for you. You know? So it's saturating and decredibilizing or whatever the word is.
Yeah.
What they do, the WBC need to take a bit more control over this and get more involved. So from at least European level, it has to be live streamed.
But I think that it will work anyway with like what you are doing, just because of the sheer fact. I think one championship, and obviously Joe's talked about it, Dan's talked about it, even Lewis talked about it when he come on, that it's a different sport to traditional Muay Thai.
Yeah,
it just
100%.
is different. If the rules are different and the gloves are different, the sport's different.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's just the reality of it.
Some of them guys are not really. It's not traditional kicking.
Well, it's like playing football with a basketball, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's not football then, is it?
It's like 5-a-side and 11-a-side, or
Yeah.
rugby full matches and sevens. They're the same. They're the same, but they're different.
Same concept.
And I think there's a lane for traditional Muay Thai to be on the one championship level as traditional Muay Thai, because people think it's boring. It's not. It's not boring.
No, I like it. I like watching it. I love watching
It's
it.
more exciting than boxing.
I love watching it. I think it's great.
Is that the first show you ever went to? What was it? CFS.
Yeah, it was.
And it was just carnage.
I remember you
And
there.
I was just like, wow, what am I at? I've never seen this ever before.
But then the day after, these guys are having a few days off and going back to a building site. Or
Yeah.
going back to cleaning carpets or whatever. It's like, it's fundamentally wrong. So unless we create rivalries, unless we put some serious things into play that will piss a few people off.
But that's what makes the market.
That's what makes the market. But it'll also filter out the shit.
Yeah.
Because there's fights that are being put on that are being wasted on smaller platforms, or there needs to be that level of structure, which is where we're working with a lot of the promotions that we're working with alongside Leapfrog Fight TV, alongside Leapfrog Fight Night, you know?
And it needs to feel special for the fans, and that's what will get more fans engaged. The more serious and special these titles and fights feel, the fans will automatically gravitate towards it because it's authentic. Anything that's authentic is going to build a crowd.
I agree, 100%.
I do want to go back to when we were talking about mindset and resilience and obviously your self-belief. Do you ever deal with imposter syndrome when you're putting out pieces of content or anything like that?
Not really, if I'm being honest. I tell you what I do deal with. I really struggle sometimes if, you know, when you got stuff going on in your life with the, I don't know, you've had the kids all day and the kids have played up, or you've had a row with the missus and then you got to go to a show and interview people, or you got to come and do a podcast.
Yeah.
That's hard because it's almost like you got to switch your game face on. So actually, I'm really annoyed because my son's been playing me up all day. He's been really poorly. I've been changing dirty nappies, and I'm really not in the right mindset to be interviewing this WBC world champion right now. But you have to put your game face on, and I thought that's an art in itself. You've really got to learn that, to not let people see that you've had a shit day. Because you can't, can you?
Yeah.
Oh, look at his interview. It's really bad because he's miserable.
Yeah. But that sort of comes back to like having hold of your emotions.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Like letting showing it when you need to, but not showing it when you don't need to. When you need to switch it on and it's time to, because it's your job at the end of the day. You gotta go.
When you work a normal job, your alarm goes off at 5. You either get up and go to work or you don't. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
That's the first battle.
Yeah. And that is a battle, man, for some people.
It's the hardest battle sometimes.
Oh, it's so hard. Yeah.
Mike, do you want to quickly go on the Instagram and get a few of the questions that were put on there? Before we do that, I'll ask you, this is sort of, is there anything we've not mentioned that's big news or anything that we've sort of missed?
Not really. No, not really. Just, I think with Leapfrog Fight Night, we just want people to see the product. Once they see the product, then they'll understand what we're trying to do. And the people that get behind it, we appreciate you. For the ones that don't, we appreciate you too,
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah.
If you've got an opinion, if you think after the show, if you think something's bad or you think something can improve, then tell us.
Yeah.
We want to create. We're all ears. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes along the way. But you know what? The people that I don't like are the fucking dream killers. Fuck you with your dream killing shit.
It's because they've not got nothing going on.
Take it elsewhere. Just because I'm taking opportunities and creating things that you didn't fucking think of.
It's out there for them as well.
But we
take your keyboard fingers.
We got that earlier though, like like on a YouTube video, people commenting, talking shit.
Yeah,
it's just typical. That's just.
But it surprises you who it is.
Yeah, I feel like with you it's different because you get more people maybe who you actually know or you see at events or more close people to you as
closer than you think.
Yeah,
mate. That's what surprised me. That's what shocked me.
Yeah,
it's just like whoa.
It's because you're actually doing well.
Yeah, like for all the things I've done with you over the years, and you've all of a sudden, what the hell?
Yeah.
Okay. You're not going to eat at my table anymore, mate. Trust me.
Yeah.
And I had my table laid out for everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody is welcome at my table, but not anymore. I've removed a few place settings, let me tell you. I really have.
You have to do it. That's where it gets
adjustable table, mate. That one 12 seats, that's sick.
It's one of them IKEA ones.
that iconic photo of Jesus when Judas is on the other side.
I think the point I'm trying to say, if you're ever going to build a business, make sure you get one of those adjustable tables because it will adjust a lot.
Quickly before we go on to that, obviously, because you're social media guy, you're sort of a master at it. You've built up businesses, you've led. What do you think we could do better as a channel, as a media brand?
I don't think it's about doing better. I think it's just consistency. I think it's consistent. You absolutely. I've lived and breathed social media now with Notorious, with Fight TV, with Leapfrog Combat Media, with everything else. It's real. There's not been a day where I haven't posted. Like every day, at least once.
Yeah.
It's the same with promoters. They wonder why their Instagrams don't grow. Well, that's because when you've got a show, you're busy as fuck. As soon as the show's over, you disappear for 3 months till the next show. Then you all of a sudden start posting again, and then you start starting again.
Yeah.
You're trying to.
It's like they've never taken off.
Yeah, you're trying to rebuild momentum. So, for example, when we try and like our story views, we probably get between 2,000-3,000 story views a day. When we've got a show, that goes up to 10,000. So when's the best time for me to drop posters or announcements or, the next show for this or the next show for that is when we've got a show.
Yeah.
Because our audience is quadruple what it normally is. But it's consistency. There's content. There's no such thing as bad content. There's content for everybody. There's something I enjoy that Amir enjoys. Amir's always sending me shit that I'm thinking, what the fuck, what do you watch that for? That's shit. I couldn't watch that.
Yeah.
But then the stuff I watch, he doesn't like to watch. It's, it's a bit of that.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as bad content. It's just consistency. If you're in people's faces constantly, 24/7, posting, then
How long did it take you to get to this position from when you started Notorious?
it's took us 6 years.
6 years. That's what I mean. I think people don't realize the journey in between.
No,
Like no one.
we hit it lucky on TikTok. I think our TikTok, it was the Notorious Fight Gear TikTok at the time, which is now Leapfrog Fight Nights TikTok. We've changed it because obviously I don't really do Notorious anymore because I haven't got time. I just do bits for wholesale clients that I know. But we hit it lucky with our TikTok. I think that was on about 6,000 followers, something like that. And then we did one video that went viral that took us to 30K, like overnight. And that was Enzo Raponi at 21 Century.
Yeah, when he's on the ropes.
Yeah, did 19.9 million views.
Yeah.
So and that's where the heavily watermark stuff then come into play. We had another one with Andy Turland doing like that tornado kick at CFS. That did like millions and around the world on different platforms, and we didn't watermark it. So that's when the heavy watermarks then came into play with a lot of other people. But now we're scaling that back again now because people don't want to see it. They just want slight discrete ones.
Yeah.
So, but it's just being consistent.
Consistency is king, people.
It is 100%.
Yeah, if you read them, whatever ones you think, oh yeah.
Whoa. I thought it'd be like 2.
Right.
There's going to be
So I've got a good one here, and
some ridiculous
I kind of know what your answer will be. Who's the best Muay Thai promoter in the UK right now?
Leapfrogfighttv.
Because there ain't one out there.
It's true. Like, I don't mean it disrespectfully, but promoting isn't about just putting out a poster. Promoting, like how many promoters in the last 6 months have gone and visited fighters at gyms?
I don't know, none.
No, I haven't seen any. Sorry, I just haven't.
But like you said, that's what it's making the fighters feel special. It's storytelling. The fans need to be connected to this guy fighting. Then not necessarily, especially it's not like it's Anthony Joshua fighting, but even Matchroom will build a story and they'll give them fights that are going to build their brand and build their story.
It's like the long form stuff that we've been putting out on these fighters. So every fighter that's fighting on our main card has a promo video. The promo video is to be played on the big screen before they walk out. So therefore, people in the audience that don't know who they are get to know them a little bit before their fight. So then when so-and-so walks out and he ends up knocking this guy out and it's all over in turn, the audience know his name. They know a little bit about him. They know what gym he fights at. It's building a fan base. Yeah. And my point being is that these long-form interviews on Instagram generally don't do very well. Everything needs to be kind of under 60 seconds. They've all done over 10K.
Yeah.
They've all done over 10K. That means 10,000 people have watched at least a couple of minutes of this long-form content that we've been putting out. Therefore, building the fighter's profile, building the fighter's fans, and getting more eyes onto who they are as people and fighters.
Yeah. Dream boxing fight to promote, who would it be between currently?
Dream boxing fight to promote. If it's current fighters, it's got to be Ben Eubank, innit? Like Ben Eubank, mate, that rivalry. I'd love to promote Prince Naseem Hamed.
Yeah.
He was the man, and still is, the ultimate in entertainment. Like, ultimate. I've even said to Kieran Shanahan, because his missus, she's got her own horse. I was like, Kieran, I want you on horseback on one of your walkouts. He was like, what? I went, I want you on horseback. Who's done that?
Yeah.
He was like, well, nobody.
That's where marketing is different.
Yeah, I was like, mate, that shit would go viral.
Yeah, super viral.
Like,
fucking man, he's got the look. He's got the look, though. He's got the look.
Kieran, where's the camera? Who do we need to look? Kieran, let me tell you now, bro, you're doing it. No, but seriously, but this is thinking out the box. He was like, what? He was laughing about, and his Mrs. Lou, she was like, yeah, we could do that.
No, he should. I would do that. That's
Kieran
different.
Shanahan, at some point over the next 12 months, he's going to be, his walkout will be on a horse. I'm telling you now.
Which for him, because I'm guessing he's a big part of your team anyway. What route is the best route for him in combat sports?
The route he's on at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Muay Thai Grand Prix are the biggest in the game in terms of promotion and production. Yeah, he needs to just carry on the path he's on.
But he's so big. Do they even have that weight category in one and stuff like that? Is that the route he wants to go in, or does he want to go a UFC route? Like, what is his?
I don't really know, if I'm being honest. I mean, I think he'd love to fight on one, but I don't think from what he knows, he wouldn't sign with one as such. But you'd have to ask him.
Yeah,
you'd have to ask him. He's got plans. He's got his path. But the path involves a horse, 100%.
Top tips to fighters wanting to get noticed.
Be consistent.
Consistency.
Consistent. Have conversations with people, engage with people, and give people your time. Drop people a message. DM somebody that, I love that technique that you did. How do you do that? Or well done on the knockout. So sorry you lost your last fight. Connect with people.
What gives you the motivation / discipline to push on in this space?
Because I want to be the best. I want to be known as the guy that came in that nobody fucking knew, that wasn't a fighter, that wasn't a coach, that came in and made a difference.
Common themes among the promotions that succeed.
Common themes among the promotions and succeed. Great matchmaking. I think that's about it, mate, if I'm being honest. I think there's a lot that they're missing. I think a lot of them now are catching up to the fact that they've got to market themselves more, and there's a lot more to the shows than just... I mean, I've seen both sides of the spectrum. One of the best shows I've ever been to was All on More in Scotland, and that was in a church with no walkouts, no production. The guys that were fighting next, like in Thailand, were sat on the corner of the ring waiting to go in. The atmosphere was incredible. It was raw. It was amazing. So it shows that you don't have to have the big LED TV screens, the fire, the fancy walkouts. You don't have to have that to put on an incredible show. But the way All on More has built its reputation over the years, and they only put on one show a year, has given it that, that credibility, if you like. The other shows,
it's like it has scarcity.
Yeah.
It's not too much and not oversaturated.
Yeah,
so people
100%.
want it, they come back for more.
And stop filling your cards up full of shit you don't need to. I get it, because you got to get the money in, but if you're in the promoting game to make money, then fucking get into a different game, because the reality, it's like building a t-shirt brand and becoming a millionaire. The reality of it is fucking highly unlikely that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So to all the promoters that are in it to make money, they're in it for the wrong reasons. The promoters that aren't in it to make money, they do the right thing, So.
And the final two questions of the pod, these are the questions we ask everyone at the end. It was one question, now it's two.
Famous two.
Stitched with two.
Next thing it'll be free.
Yeah, next week we just keep adding them on.
Since Alex come on the podcast, there's 10 questions I just want to ask you.
When it's all said and done for you, how does Alex Pszczola want to be remembered?
I just want to be remembered for being a good dad, being a good husband, and being the guy that tried to make a difference in whatever way I could. Those three things are all that. My family is the most important thing to me. Always will be. Everything I do is for my wife and my kids. My wife and me have got this incredible connection. We don't just love each other. It's so much more. Like, we get seriously depressed when we're apart. I struggle when I'm at shows, staying in hotels overnight. I just don't like it. I like to be home with my family and my kids. So yeah, just the guy that tried his best at everything.
That's perfect, man. And your most euphoric moment in life so far? So the moment you think back to it now and it gives you goosebumps. It could be a job promotion, it could be starting a business, just a fond memory you have of something.
When I asked my wife to marry me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Changed my life, that did. Changed my life. She gave me, I was so nervous, and I proposed to her on the beach in Mexico, and she didn't have a clue. And I was never ready to settle down. Was never thought I'd end up getting married. I wasn't that kind of guy. And as soon as I met my wife, I just knew straight away. I just had to get a ring on it, man, as quickly as I could. So yeah, the moment I proposed to her and she said yeah, I just had this overwhelming feeling that my life's going to change, and it did. She gave me that sort of security I needed, that grounding that I need sometimes, because if you let me, I'll just fucking take off. Yeah, and she gave me that. She gave me the love. I think she gave me the love that I missed a lot of when I was when I was younger. So yeah, she's an incredible woman. And mate, we've been together for 10 years, and I still fancy the pants off my wife.
Yeah,
like I annoy the shit out of her, mate. I'm constantly trying to get. You know what I mean? In the kitchen. I'm just going to do the podcast. Like, it just gives me a peck, and it's not enough. I want more. No, she's an incredible woman, man. She's a good mum. She's a tough grafter. She works hard. The nicest thing for me as a man is I know if anything ever happened to me now, like I know she'd be okay and my kids would be okay, because it's just the way she is.
They're in good hands.
So yeah, she's incredible woman.
That's perfect, man. Alex, thank you for coming on.
Pleasure.
It's nice to have you on finally. I'm sure it won't be the last time you're on here either.
No, man, let's do another one tomorrow. I think you got Amir coming on soon.
Amir's going to be coming on very soon as well.
Do you know, I'm looking forward to that though, because our stories are like, me and Amir, we're probably the best of friends now. I would class him as my best friend. But we're so different.
Yeah, yin and yang.
Oh,
completely different.
If we'd have met when we were 20, there's no way this friendship would have formed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it's like there's not a day goes by where we don't talk to each other about family stuff as well as.
Amir, I've noticed that he's one of them people you just need to break his barriers down a bit.
Yeah, you do.
Once he's comfortable with you, he starts speaking. He's a slow burner.
Yeah. I tell you what, he's got, like, I can form instant relationships like that within 30 seconds to a minute. Like, yeah, you're like that. I agree totally. You're charismatic.
Yeah,
you've got the ability to figure someone out within a minute. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a really, really good trait. It's a good trait I've got. Amir's different, but Amir's really good at long-term, long-lasting relationships. You know, so a lot of my relationships might fizzle out with people.
He's real,
but he's
he's
on it.
Like, and it works with business because you're out there. He's behind the scenes, but even the conversations I've had with Amir, it's like, he's tapped in.
Mate, he's
tapped in.
He's a lurker.
Like,
he's always lurking.
I think he's just there, but he's tapped in, man. He's tapped in.
He's 100% tapped in. He knows.
And the best thing about it is he doesn't want to be on the camera. He doesn't want it on him. He just wants to be in the background and just. Do
you know the good thing? The way we both explain things though is really funny because it's the same. But we go completely different routes to get to explaining how that is.
Yeah.
And I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, Amir will send you a 15-minute voice note. Like Amir's that, like, he needs to explain every single point of depth of what he's going into.
And Joe Turner's a 3 seconds long.
How you doing, mate? Just wondering if you know about this sound.
Yeah. That's Joe Turner's voice notes are that short. I have to re-listen to them 3 times because if I'm driving and I'll listen and I didn't hear it, and I have to put it close to my ear, and it's funny. And then Charlie Herdman's voice notes are kind of in the middle.
But Leapfrog Fight Night.
Leapfrog Fight Night, June 15th. Tickets via the Boxed app. And the main card will be live on Leapfrog Fight TV, and the undercard will be live on Leapfrog Fight TV's YouTube.
And it's perfect because it's in Luton. It's in Luton.
You guys are coming down, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. And it's at Vauxhall, not Vauxhall's.
Venue 360.
Venue 360, but we call it Vauxhall's, don't we?
Why do you call it Vauxhall?
Because it's right next to the big Vauxhall.
That would make sense. It was right next to Aldi, but you don't call it Aldi, do you?
No, they've only just built that. Send them.
Oh, did they?
Sending people to the wrong building. Is it Vauxhall's?
It's a nice venue, man.
Whereabouts are you having it in there? Downstairs.
in the big like banqueting thing.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why we had it there was because the motorway is literally it's 2 minutes
Right
off
next to the motorway.
Train station's around the corner, but the internet speed there is phenomenal.
Superb.
So we can't put a broadcast.
And a lot of the fighters are local.
Yeah, a lot of the fighters are local.
So actually, it works.
It works for everyone.
Yeah.
Luton have finally got a fight venue that's not the Dunstable Conference Centre.
yeah.
That place is a hovel.
I don't think Amir Sabasic was really that happy about it, but that's another conversation.
Oh, about the event or just about?
just generally everything. He's gone with somebody else now. So,
Oh, has he?
yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Obviously, we still want to get him on, so I'm not gonna. And he's local, and
He's cool, man.
Motherfucker, man. So I ain't trying.
I got nothing but love for him. Incredible guy, but yeah, he didn't like the fact. So I'm cool with that. It's fine.
Some people are going to be like that. That's just with
100%, you gotta
with
expect that.
everything.
Business.
Yeah, it's business.
Listen, where do we go in the country where there's no shows? Come on.
Yeah,
But our plan is to go out on the road anyway. So
yeah,
that's only going to be probably the one in Luton, and then we'll move elsewhere.
yeah.
So he'll be my friend again in a few weeks.
Yeah,
But that internet speed.
yeah, that internet speed, you just have to do it. People, go and follow Alex. I'll leave his socials all down below. Leapfrog Fight TV, Leapfrog Fight Night. They're two separate.
So yeah,
They're two
Leapfrog Fight
separate
TV and
Instagrams.
Leapfrog Fight Night UK on Instagram.
So I'll link both of them down below. YouTube channels, everything like that. Thanks for tuning in to. This is the first episode of Unchained Minds on the new revamps. You're the first guest.
I like it, man.
So thank you for coming
branding.
on.
It's good.
Yeah.
Credit to you guys.
No, thank you.
You guys have grafted, man. You've had some characters on here as well.
Yeah,
We've had crazy
it,
people.
It went down a weird route.
Like you said, it's just lovely. To
Let me
speak
ask
to
you a question.
people.
What's your most memorable pod you've done so far?
Most memorable pod. Dave Wilmot
Really?
in Bristol. The weekend we done the filming, we were in there doing the pods, and Dave Wilmot, he's from Luton, trained with Andrew Tate. He's from Storm Gym. Been a hard drug addict, turned his whole life around. Like the pod was, but you can. This is why we always have to do face to face, because you can feel it. Every story you can feel, and I just feel like a face to face connection. Whatever happens in our lives, we'll never forget this moment. Whether you see me in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you'll be like,
100%.
I remember that connection because we've asked you personal questions and you've opened up to us. Like I don't think that's a connection you can get
making
off
memories, mate.
Zoom and
You
stuff.
shared your time to come down, to come
Yeah.
sit with us,
Yeah,
have
man.
a
It's
chat.
a pleasure.
That
It's
is
a pleasure. Now I know where you live.
I feel like it's tribal. But so Dave,
I'll be here. It's me. Let me in.
Dave Wilmot. Dave Wilmot was a big one.
yeah, we've had a lot of big ones, but Dave's was just you could feel it.
Andrew Craig,
could feel
yeah,
it.
Andrew Craig. So we started this whole thing off sort of off a book, an investing book that gave us a bit more belief in like, right, if we can learn how to invest, we can learn how to do this and that. And he was the 100th episode. CEO, fund manager, author of 2 books, like best-selling Amazon books as well for investing. So like serious guy. And he come on and that
But it's hard.
that was crazy.
It's hard to say because
But every podcast
like
is-
even you.
But that's
Brilliant.
the
But
thing.
now I get it.
Now-
Now I get Leapfrogfighttv.
Do you know what?
And now I can see it.
When I
You got any stocks? You got any stocks to invest?
I was over in Ireland, and I was with Tony from Valhalla Gym in Ireland, and we were having a conversation. No, it wasn't. I was with Ema Cod, and she took me for some lunch. And then obviously she's a bit of a slow burner. You need to bring her out of her shell a little bit. So we started having a conversation, talking and all that. So I started telling her a few things about me singing and doing that, and she went, "Now it all makes sense." Do you know what I mean? It's funny.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, yeah, you've seen, you've been there, you've done it, you've done it.
I've earned my stripes
stripes.
in different ways.
Yeah.
So I might not have been a promoter yet. It might be my first shot at promoting, but I promoted one of the biggest brands in France in the UK.
Yeah.
You know, there's no difference.
No,
Yeah.
no. And you believe that's.
But promoters at the end of the day are just salesmen.
100%.
They're just selling a product
selling a
to
product,
people
yeah.
to buy the
Selling the
product.
product. And do you know what? We're trying, man. I might fall flat on my face. So what? I tried.
Yeah, you've done something the 1% won't do.
Exactly.
But that's why the podcast is here to show the 1% get up, whether it's going for your first 1K, walking around the block,
speaking to
reading
the girl,
a book.
speaking to a person. You get like this coming out your comfort zone. Embrace
100%,
it.
mate. This is it. Like, I've never done this before.
Yeah, podcast. Yeah, I remember.
This is the first time I've ever done a podcast. I'm normally the other guy. You know,
Yeah,
I'm normally
with
you.
the mic. Yeah.
And it's different. I was a bit nervous to start with. You know, you have to relax into things.
Yeah.
It's a whole new thing.
That's another thing as well. I'm going to get you to write a message down, mindset related. So maybe a quote that you live by, or a message you always go off to yourself. Because what we're going to do is we're going to build up a wall of messages from guests.
Quotes, what?
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Man.
A wall of like positive mindset messages. And we're just going to build up a big wall from every guest.
You guys just keep doing what you're doing, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. But just
like you said, it's business. It's business ups and downs. Like I said, we started. Well, he started this thing with him with the Curious Fijian. But like you said, you're gonna have hurdles. You have to try overcome them. Otherwise, if you give up, then it's done. What we doing? You can't. You got to keep going. Figure it out. It's a puzzle.
The only time to give up, and I've said it in anything I've ever done, is when you're not enjoying it anymore.
Yeah.
Like the day I don't enjoy this, I will stop. I don't give a shit. I'll stop. And I'll let somebody else take over. Let somebody else take over the reins. But the moment this becomes too stressful, or I don't like it, or I'm not having fun, I'm out. I'm gone. See ya.
Yeah.
So yeah, better make sure I keep having fun.
Me's gonna have to keep you in check, man. Make sure. But people, thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe. Make sure you check out Alex on all of his socials. And peace, people.